You know this scene, right? You're at your favorite momok, you see the no smoking sign, but you also see people smoking. So what's the deal? It feels like the rules are often just suggestions. Well, let's get into it because Malaysia is in the middle of a huge battle to clear the air. And trust me, it's way more complicated than just putting up a sign. And that's really the core question we're digging into. Why are these smoking laws so incredibly hard to enforce? I mean, we've got these brand new, super tough laws on the books, but when you're actually out there on the ground, it can be a completely different story. So what is causing this major disconnect? All right, first up, before we get into the laws themselves, let's just get a handle on the sheer scale of the problem we're dealing with here. Okay, look at this number. Nearly a quarter of all Malaysians over the age of 15 use tobacco, at least as of 2019. Now, that's not just a dry statistic, that's millions and millions of people. It really shows you just how deeply embedded smoking is in our social fabric. And then there's this number. Wow, almost 10,000. That's how many complaints the health ministry received in 2023 alone, just about people smoking in eateries. Think about that for a second. That's a huge number of people who are fed up enough to actually stop what they're doing and make a report. It tells you one thing very clearly. The public really wants these smoke-free spaces to actually be smoke-free. So how did we even get to this point? Well, let's move on to our next section, because this fight didn't just start yesterday. This has been a decades-long battle. You can kind of see the whole journey laid out here. It started small, back in '76 with just simple warning messages on packs. Then in the '80s, we started seeing the first bans in public places. '94 was a big one, no more selling cigarettes to anyone under 18. And then in 2005, Malaysia joined a global agreement. All of it slowly building up to the massive new law that just came into effect this year. And that 2005 step? It's super important. By signing on with the World Health Organization, Malaysia basically promised the rest of the world it would get serious about tobacco control. So this isn't just some local issue. It's about meeting a global standard, which adds a lot more weight and urgency to these new laws. So what is this big new law? It's officially called the Control of Smoking Products for Public Health Act 2024, or Act 52 for short. And let me tell you, this thing is a real game changer. It is the government's most powerful tool yet. We're not just talking about cigarettes anymore. This covers the whole shebang: vapes, advertising, sales, even the packaging. And the most crucial part for our daily lives? It spells out 28 types of places that are now 100% non-smoking zones, and that includes every single eatery and most workplaces. So if this is starting to make sense and you're getting a clearer picture of what's going on with these new rules, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe. That way you'll always be in the loop on Malaysia's biggest issues. Okay, so this is where it gets really interesting. The enforcement gap. We've just established there's this powerful new law on paper. So why is there such a huge gap between the law and what we're all seeing in real life? This quote right here from the head of the Consumers Association of Penang just hits the nail on the head. He says a lot of restaurant owners simply don't have the courage to tell smokers to stop. And it's not because they don't want to. It's because they're genuinely afraid for their own safety. It all comes down to fear. And that fear is absolutely justified. I mean, just listen to this. The president of the Restaurant Owners Association shared that customers have gotten so aggressive, they've literally threatened to splash hot drinks in their workers' faces. We're not talking about a polite disagreement here. This can escalate into a seriously dangerous situation for the staff on the ground. So let's look at who actually pays the price when the law gets broken. The penalties are no joke for anyone. The smoker themselves can get hit with a fine of up to 10,000 ringgit or even face jail time. But here's the tough part. Look at the owner. They can get fined just for not having a sign-up, and an even bigger fine for failing to stop a customer from smoking. So they're stuck between a rock and a hard place, aren't they? Risk a dangerous confrontation or risk getting slapped with a heavy fine. Okay, so let's just quickly recap exactly why this gap exists. First, there just aren't enough enforcement officers to be everywhere at once. Then you have that very real fear we just talked about. Plus, enforcement can be really inconsistent. It might be strict in one city, but way more relaxed in a smaller town. And here's a key piece of the puzzle. We're actually in what the government calls an educational enforcement phase right now. The real crackdown isn't even scheduled to begin until April 2025. All right, on to our final section, clearing the air. We've laid out the problem pretty clearly, so what's next? What are the actual solutions? And maybe, most importantly, what are you supposed to do when you see someone lighting up where they shouldn't be? The official advice from the health ministry is crystal clear, and it's all about keeping you safe. The number one rule is do not confront the person. Seriously, they really stress this. Avoid the argument. Instead, what you should do, if you can do it safely, is snap a quick picture of the violation. Then just report it to the ministry and let them take it from there. It's their job, not yours. And they've made it incredibly easy to do. Here's the number. It's a dedicated WhatsApp line just for these complaints. You can literally save it in your phone right now. See something, send the picture, tell them where it is, and you've done your part without putting yourself at risk. But looking at the big picture, experts say just reporting isn't going to solve the whole problem for good. We need more consistent enforcement everywhere, not just in the big cities. We need the community to really get behind this with ongoing education. And basically, everyone, the authorities, business owners, and the public, needs to work together. And here's a pretty smart idea that's being discussed. What if other bodies, like the police, could also issue these fines? That would instantly put way more eyes on the ground. So there you have it. You're now completely up to speed on one of Malaysia's trickiest public health issues. Thanks for watching. If you want more clarity and less confusion, join the thousands of others who feel the same way. Tap that like button, hit subscribe, and let's keep making sense of all this together. So we end up right back where we started. All the pieces seem to be on the board, right? We have a powerful new law, the public clearly wants change, and there's a simple way to report violations. But overcoming decades of habit and that very real fear of confrontation, well, that's the real challenge. So the question that remains is, with everything that's been put in place, will it finally be enough to clear the air for good?